Hello, welcome back to IAS Tech. In this video, we will explore how to create API of LangChain by using LangServe. So this is their documentation that you can also open and follow. These are all of the features and these are limitation, etc. We will just try to save time and start using it. First thing is that you have to open the folder in the terminal and open it in the editor. I will be using the VS Code, and then you will have to create the virtual environment in that folder. So in order to create the virtual environment, there are several ways to create virtual environment. I will use one of them that I have been using nowadays. There might be better options. So just run the command pip env shell. Okay, so once your environment is created, you will notice a pip file here that is currently empty, and your virtual environment has been activated. Now it's time to install the dependencies. So first thing is that we need to install the LangServe. If you specify all, then it will download the client code and the server code. But if you don't need both, you just need a server, you can just specify the server and it will download the code only responsible for the server. Okay. Anyways, so let's copy that command, go back to the VS Code editor and run the command pip env install LangServe. With that, you will notice that it has been added in the pip file. So we can use the LangChain CLI to bootstrap our LangServe project very quickly. So for that, let's run this command in the terminal. Use pip env install. Let me remove the -u and try it again. All right, it has been installed. Next, we will create the new app by using the LangChain. By the way, in this documentation, they are using Poetry for dependency management. Please follow the Poetry doc to learn more about it. Okay, so let's try to run this command first. I will use pip env run LangChain app new app. Okay, it is asking me some question. What package would you like to add? I will just skip it and you will notice that my app has been created. Okay, so let's look at this folder structure that we got here. In the my app folder, we have the Docker file that would be helpful when you want to deploy it online. And then we have the packages folder. Then we have the app folder. In the app folder, we have the init.py that is empty currently. Then we have the server.py. Okay. So in this base file, we are importing the fast API, and we have the redirect response class and the add routes. So we have defined the endpoint that whenever somebody tries to access the root of the domain, then it will immediately redirect user back to the docs endpoint, because on the docs you will see the documentation. The docs are API docs, and here we can edit this to add the chain you want to add. Right now they just added not implemented. So let's import these dependencies. Actually, for now I will not use Poetry. I will just try to keep it simple. So I will just install the dependencies manually. So open the terminal and let's add pip env install fast API and LangServe. Press enter. This would add the dependencies in the pip file that you will notice here. All right, now let's go back to the server. And right now I still can see the errors that it cannot resolve this. The reason is that our VS Code is targeting a different virtual environment. We have to target it to the correct one. For that, we have to type the name of our virtual environment, that is LangChain -serve1. Click on that. Now you can see it has been selected here, and the error has gone. So next, let's try to run this. For that, I will run the command pip env run python my-app/app/server.py. Now we got an error that the second argument to add route should be the runnable. So right now, as this is not implemented, that's why it will not work. Now let's go back to the documentation and proceed. So first thing is that we have to export the OpenAI key because we will need it in the following example. So let's export it here, the environment variable. Now I need to generate the OpenAI key. So let's go back to the OpenAI platform and create a new key, test2, create secret. All right, let's copy that and paste it here. I missed the Y character. Okay. All right, the OpenAI API key has been added in the environment variable. So these are all of the examples that you can look at one by one and experiment, like retrieve simple server that exposes the retriever as the runnable. If you click on that, then you will find the example here. Okay, and if you click on the examples folder, you will see a lot of examples. So if you explore them one by one and try to understand, then you will have very good understanding about the LangServe. For example, if you want to create an agent, you can open that and you can learn here how to create a server and how to create a client. So client is the app that will consume the server. So you can see this is the entire code that is currently working and functional. You can follow it as it is and run it in your own computer. And this is a client that is basically consuming the API that was created by the LangServe. So look at this. This is using the 8000 port on localhost and calling the invoke function, and it is passing the input. So we can do these experiments by ourselves as well. So let's proceed. So we will try to keep it simple in the beginning. So very first thing is that we need to add these two endpoints. Let's start from the one endpoint at the beginning. So here this is how you add an endpoint. You call the function add route, pass the app and the path of the endpoint, and then you will have to specify the chain or model. So we need to import the chat OpenAI from the LangChain.chat models. So let's try that. Okay, the LangChain is missing in our dependencies. For that, I need to run the command pip env install LangChain. Once it is installed, then this error will be gone. Alright, the dependency has been added. Now this error will be gone in few seconds. You will notice that. Okay, now as we already have added the OpenAI API key in the environment variable, so it will not complain about that and it will simply work. And I will just get rid of this app route because we don't need that. Now let's run our Python file, and this time it should work without any error. Okay, we got an error. The reason is that we need to install the OpenAI dependency. So let's run the command pip env install OpenAI. Okay, now let's run the same file again, and this time it worked without any error. So let's open this URL in the browser. Okay, you can see it has redirected us to the /docs endpoint, and this is our endpoint that we just created. So these are the default ones. So now there is also another. You can test the OpenAI endpoint in the Postman, or you can use this endpoint in the code as well. So I will show you how to use it in the Postman so that you can get an idea about how to use it. But before that, let me show you another thing. There is very useful thing, very interesting thing in it, that is the playground. So here in the after the base URL, you have to specify the name of the endpoint, that is OpenAI in our case /playground. Press enter and you will see that this UI will be appeared out of the box. You don't have to create it. Just click on the plus button. Here you will have to specify that what is this. Is this a chat, or if this is a function or system or AI or human. Okay, so in the human, I can just ask it which is the easiest language, programming language. tell me in one word. Okay, hit the start button and you can see it has given us the answer that Python is the easiest language to learn. Okay, so that's mean it is working. Now it's time to test it from the Postman. So let's open the Postman and let's copy this path. Okay, here paste this endpoint and use the post method. And now if you try to hit the send button, nothing will happen because it is saying not found, because you still need to specify the proper path. Because if you go back to the docs, you will see that these are the main functions that are available. You can further read about other endpoints as well if available in their documentation. Like here it is telling you that all of these endpoints are available to invoke: batch, stream, streamlog, etc. Stream is also very interesting endpoint that you can hit. So it will give you the character by character output in response instead of waiting for the entire response from the OpenAI. For now I will use the invoke. So add invoke here. So this is basically my runnable that based according to this. Okay, now let's hit the send button and it is saying that invalid JSON body. So go back to the body and click on the raw, select JSON, and here I will add an empty object and send it. Now it is saying that this field is required input, so we have to provide the input field here, and here I can ask my question, who invented the bulb, and hit the send button. It is saying that Thomas Edison is credited with inventing the first commercially practical, etc. Okay, so that's when it is working. So this is how you can simply use the fetch API in the JavaScript or request package in the Python and use this URL to execute your endpoints and work on that to integrate with your UI or your application. So let me make it a bit more interesting by adding the stream here and send button. So this will stream the output instead of giving it everything at once. So this gave us the stream in the response. You can also see the content type, that is text/event-stream. So if you just use the invoke, then the content type would be different. Now you can see that content type is plain application/JSON. Okay, this is how we know that this is stream. All right, let's proceed further. Now you can also add the Anthropic model as well. So let's go back to the VS Code, and here I will add Anthropic. We did not add the API key for the Anthropic yet, so we may have to add it first, but let me check what would be the environment variable name for the Anthropic. So open the chat Anthropic API reference, and there you might find the information that what would be the. So one way is that you can pass a parameter with that name and hard code the API key, or you can expose the Anthropic API key environment variable, and then it would be available throughout your session. So let's stop it and use export this and pass it the key. So let's create the key. This is the Anthropic console. Go to the get API keys and let's create the API key by clicking on the create key button. Test 2. Okay, copy the key, and now I will paste it here. With that, it is available. If I don't add it and just try to run it, I will get error that API key was not provided. Okay, now let's give it a try. Run the server once again. I got this error that we have to install this dependency as well, like we did for the OpenAI. So let's run the command pip env install. Okay, so you will notice that new dependency has been added in the pip file, and after some time, when it is installed, we will start using it. Alright, it has been installed. Now let's try to run the server again, and hopefully it will not fail this time. Okay, it has been started, and here let's open it in the browser, and now this time you will notice that we have another endpoint Anthropic. So let's access it. So instead of saying OpenAI/platform, I will use Anthropic, and here I will try to ask it, what's your model name? Okay, it is saying that I'm Claude, an AI assistant created by Anthropic. That's great. That's mean it is working now. Other than that, we are getting some warnings that something is deprecated, so we can try to figure that out as well. So here it is saying that importing from LangChain, it is saying that importing the chat models from LangChain is deprecated, so we cannot import the models from the LangChain anymore. I mean, it is currently working, but in the next versions it would not be working. It is saying that importing from LangChain will no longer be supported as of LangChain is equal to 0.2.0. So please import from the LangChain community instead. So I think we have to install the LangChain community as well. So let's run that command, env install LangChain dash community, press enter. Okay, while it is being installed, we will try to fix the things. So we have ran this command, and now we need to import the chat OpenAI from this path. Let's remove this now. And now we need to use the import statement for the chat Anthropic as well in the same way. So to import the chat Anthropic, we have to install a different package, that is LangChain Anthropic. Let me remove this one from here. Okay, now I will run the command pip env install LangChain Anthropic. Okay, this also has been installed and the error has been gone. Now let's try to start the server again and see if everything is still working. So I'm going to run the server.py file again like before. So we have two errors. For the chat Anthropic, we have to specify the model name as well. Let me install this dependency first. So pip env install LangChain OpenAI. Okay, now let's try to run the server to see other errors. Okay, now we are getting this error. It is saying that LangChain deprecation warning, the class chat OpenAI was deprecated in the LangChain and will be removed. An updated version of the class exists in the LangChain OpenAI package and should be used instead. So we should have used this statement to get the OpenAI. So let me replace it with that, and hopefully everything else should work fine. And it was also complaining about the model name, so let me add the model name here. Let me get the available model names for the Anthropic. So let us copy this name and paste here. Okay, save it and let's try it once more. Hopefully it should work fine without causing any trouble. Okay, now I can see the console is clean, there are no errors, and here it is giving us the information about all of the available endpoints. We have Anthropic /playground and OpenAI /playground. So now we can test it just to double check that everything is still working. So here I can refresh and ask the same question by clicking on the plus button, start. Okay, it is working. Excellent. Now let me double check the OpenAI as well. Here I will ask, what's your name? Okay, it is also working. It is saying that I am an AI digital assistant. Let me ask its model name. What's your model name? Okay, let me ask it in another way. Who made you? Okay, it is saying that I was created by the team of developers and engineers at OpenAI. Alright, everything is according to our requirements. Now we can proceed to in our documentation and try to experiment with other examples. Now we will create another endpoint that will create the jokes for us. Okay, so here I will add additional endpoint. So I have created the chat Anthropic, and I also have to pass the model name, and also I have to create import the chat prompt template. So let's do that from LangChain .prompts import chat prompt template, and we are calling this function from template, and here we are creating a template with the text, tell me a joke about this topic. This topic would be dynamic. We will be getting the input from the user and add it here dynamically. So here we are passing the chain. Basically this is creating a chain in this way. The prompt would take the input and prepare the text based on this and pass that final output to the model, and model would execute that prompt for us, and then it will give us the response back. So everything would be handled automatically out of the box by the LangServe. So we just have to add these lines, and let me restart the server. Okay, this time you will notice that this endpoint is also visible in the console. Now let's replace OpenAI with the joke, and here it is asking the topic. So let's add the topic cat, hit the send button, and it will prepare a joke on cat. Sure, here's a joke about a cat. Why did the cat wear a fancy dress? She was feline, fine, and ready to, I don't know how to pronounce. Okay. Anyways, so this was a joke by the Anthropic that is also working. So we saw how we can create a chain and use it by using the chat prompt template. It can be more complex depending on your experience. So here it is giving us a reference to the chat prompt template and Anthropic chat OpenAI. If you want to learn more about the template things, then you can come here, and they have a lot of information about creating the templates. You can see our example was very simple, but they have very complex example that you can look at and learn and be expert, be very good in the templates. Anyways, this is sufficient for now to get the know-how of this. Next, it is saying that if you intend to call your endpoint from browser, you will also need to set the course headers. You can use the fast API's built-in middleware for that. So for example, you have an Angular app or React.js app or Next.js, and you are trying to hit this endpoint from the browser, then browser will not allow you to hit that because of the security reason. So unless your server is whitelisting it. So if you do that, it will whitelist. It will allow every browser to hit this endpoint with this approach. Okay, you just have to copy it. Let me actually show you. You can just on the top here, you can add it in this way. You also have to import the course middleware from the fast API in this way. Okay, all right. I think this is sufficient that we have done so far. Next, we should cover the consumption of these endpoints. So I mean, we have tested through the playground, but we did not use the client yet. So now we will use the client. That would be the consumer. So for example, this is the backend you have created, you have hosted, you have deployed to the live server. Okay, so let's suppose you have another server somewhere where you want to consume this endpoint remotely. Then you will be using the client. Okay, in the client you will passing the path of your endpoints, and it will be able to use it. So let's try that. Okay, for that, here I will create a new file called client.py. You can give it whatever name. I'm just creating just to show you example. So let me add some dependencies here. Okay, we have added the schema from LangChain, and we are getting the system message and human message. So these are schemas, and then we are getting the chat prompt template, and we are getting the runnable map from the langchain.schema.runnable. Then we are getting the remote runnable from the LangServe. Okay, now we can create runnables from these endpoints, these URLs, and save them in their relevant variable names. Okay, so as this is about the OpenAI, so I have created a variable with the name OpenAI. Okay, and similarly you can do all of others. Okay, and now earlier we invoked from the Postman, or we invoked from the playground, but this time we are going to invoke from the code as well. But we did not test the joke chain yet, so let me show you that as well from the Postman. So here I will add the joke and press send button. Let's see what we got in the body. It is saying internal server error. The reason is that the format was not correct, because we know that, let me show you the server. So if we go to the joke, we have specified the topic variable in it. So that's mean we must have to specify that variable in our body. So instead of input, I need to specify topic, and here I will add the word bulb and send. This time I got another error that input is required. So I think first we need to add the input, then create a JSON in the input. So let's add input and JSON, and here I have added the topic, send it. All right, this time it looks like it is working because it did not crash yet. Actually at this time it was broken. Let me start the server again. Okay, let's try again. Hit the send button. So far no error. Okay, this time there was no crash, no errors, and we got the response. Sure, here is a joke about bulb. How many programmers does it take to change a light bulb? Answer is none. It's a hardware problem. Okay, anyway, so it is working. Now let's go back to the client and we will try to test it there. So we will test the joke chain first. So this is how you do that. You use the runnable name variable and use the invoke function, and then use the pass the input. So this is basically the input that we passed in the Postman. So this is a Postman and this is the input. So but other parameters would stay same. So we have specified the parrots, and now let's open a new terminal and make sure that the virtual environment is also activated in that terminal. Once that is done, now you can run the command pip env run python client.py. Okay, so I think it will not show anything in the console because we did not take the response from this invoke, and we should have take that and we should have printed that response. Let me do that. Response is equal to this, and then I will print that response. Let's try it again. Okay, this time it worked very well. It is saying that the content is yes, we have to, etc. So this is just a joke, and we have a lot of other information as well. Very nice. We should not have this semicolon here. Okay, next it is taking the example of a prompt. So it has created a prompt variable and saved an array in it. Then first element is the system message content act like. So basically this is a schema. So that will take care of the structure. You just have to pass the correct options, parameters, like you have to pass the content and act like either a cat or a parrot, and then human is sending a message hello, and we will be using this prompt. So this is also supports the stream. Okay, so let's use this code to test it. Let me comment it out and paste it. So we are getting this error because we have to put it in the async function. So async, and I will give it a name test, and let's indent it. Okay, and let me add that prompt. Okay, so we have this prompt, we have passed it, and now we have to call this function test and see if that works. So it is saying that test was never awaited. So for that I will import another package, async, I guess, and here I will use async.run and pass the function name. Okay, and let's try it again. Okay, now it is working in the stream, I guess you saw that, but okay, you can see that we got the content every time. So you can see in every content there is some next part of the previous string. Okay, anyways, okay, so let's move forward. I was not able to execute this, I was getting some error, so I will not use it. Anyway, so they also have given us the example of TypeScript. If you're using TypeScript, then this is how you will use it. And in the Python, if you don't want to use the client, you can simply get rid of everything and just use the request. So we will just import the request and let's try it. So I am going to comment out everything, and here let's import the request, and now I will copy paste this into this. Okay, So here I'm using the same endpoint and invoke function and passing the input. So this is the same object that we were passing to the Postman, and we are getting back the JSON, and we can then print it in the console. Okay, let's try it. I'm going to hit it again. Okay, you can see it worked very well. The response is here. You can also try the curl in the terminal. That would also work. So once you add the path for your runnable, it will add these endpoints to the server. Invoke, we also already have tested the invoke. We have the batch to invoke the runnable on a batch of inputs. So you can pass multiple inputs to run in batch. You can use a stream. We have tested that as well. You can stream log. That means it will use a stream plus the it will be showing the intermediate steps as it's generated, and also we have a stream events, input schema, etc. So we also have tried the playground. That also worked. One last thing, that is you can have the chat playground as well. So for example, you can add a route in this way. Okay, so let's go back to the server, and here I will add an additional route. And here we need to have the app chain and enable feedback endpoint true, enable public trace link endpoint true, and playground type chat. So that will make it possible. So this is very interesting, so stay with me. First of all, you will have a prompt template here. Okay, and we will have the an array in it. The first element would be the system message, and second would be the message placeholder. We have to import the message placeholder. So let's import it. Let me search LangChain message placeholder documentation so that I could get the path imported properly. Okay, so I think it is available in the prompts. Okay, yes, it is available there. So now we can use it here, and we are expecting the variable name messages. Okay. Okay, now I will add the input chat class. Base model will be coming from the pydantic_v1 from the LangServe, and system message should be added from the LangChain core messages. Okay, all right. So in this field we have provided the description. The chat message is representing the current conversation. Now we have the chain with types, input type, and we are specifying that what would be the type of the input chat, so that chain could take the data and pass it on to the model. And here we have specified the playground type chat. Okay, now let's give it a quick try. Run the server once again, go back here, stop it, start again. Okay, and here once it is running, you can see now we have additional endpoint playground on the root level. So you have to remove everything here and add the playground here. Now you can see we have a very nice UI that is for chat. Type hi and you will get the response immediately if everything is fine. Hello, it's nice to meet you. I'm Cobb, an AI assistant. Okay, so this is because we have specified in the prompt that you are a helpful professional assistant named Cobb. You can also give it whatever name you want, and then everything is working correctly. So you can delete the message, you can share it as well. Interface is very nice and very interesting. So you can use it, and you can use a different AI model as well, because right now we are using chat Anthropic. You can use the OpenAI model as well in the same way. So what else? I think that's all. So at the end we have the deployment section. If you want to deploy on the AWS, you will download the AWS Copilot CLI and run this command and it will be deployed. I can make another video in future if you say. If you want, then I will create another video in the future about deploying this to the server. So this is how you can deploy it to the Azure. This is how you will deploy it to the GCP, Google Cloud Run. So as you saw that we have the Docker file, so it will be using that file to make the life easy for us. And also we have a simple click button. If you click on that, it will deployed it to the railway just with just one click. So after that, we have more information. If you want to go in further depth, you can read it on your own about the advanced topic like handling authentication, etc. And custom input and output types, you can specify that as well. So this is further some detailed information about customizing the chat widget. You can customize the chat history based on your own requirement. You can configure it further. So this is all about going in depth. So I think that's all for now. I hope that this video provided you some value. If you think that this video was helpful, then please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell icon to get notified for my upcoming videos. And also please like and share this video. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Goodbye.